Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we're talking about the fact that the Brooklyn Nets are trying to run it back. So let's talk about it, and I want to hear your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of this situation? Are you guys in the same place as me? But let's get right into it. Shout out, I believe it is Brian Windhorst of ESPN for a lot of this information. Shout out anybody else I'll mention during the video, but let's get right into it. So the Brooklyn Nets appear to prefer the path where they keep both Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving on the team heading into this season in hopes that they could still be potential title contenders, because they brought in TJ Warren, Royce O'Neal, brought back the team, Nick Claxton, Patty Mills, Kessler Edwards. The team looks good. But this has been a tumultuous offseason, because the Nets already appear to have buy-in on the plan from Irving. Irving has said that he wants to stay, and they hope that because Irving is staying, Durant stops wanting a trade request. And Brian Windhorst, this is his quote: "Right now, I think the Nets want to run this team back, and they're hoping Kevin Durant agrees. The way they're conducting trade talks and the prices they are asking has teams out there thinking they really don't want to trade Kevin Durant anyway. They want to bring this team back. We'll see if Kevin Durant goes along with that in training camp." End quote. Durant and Irving have yet to play with Ben Simmons, who was acquired at the deadline with the 76ers for James Harden. Quote, Brian Windhorst, on whether Brooklyn starting the season with Durant and Irving's the most likely outcome. Start quote. That's what I think the team wants. I think the team thinks the result on the court will make everyone feel a little bit better, but I just can't get a good feel on where Kevin Durant is. He has been asked to be traded and told no, so far at least. He has asked for the coach to be fired. He's asked for the general manager to be fired. He keeps getting told no. Does he take all the no's and still show up to training camp? That's something I think we have to wait and watch. End quote. And we saw the Lakers say they're willing to trade 2 firsts now that, supposedly that's not going to be enough. But Kyrie Irving, according to Brian Windhorst, Kyrie and Brooklyn were unable to come to terms on a long-term deal in June, and then we thought he was going to get traded. But then he opted into the $36.5 million contract. Then Durant requested a trade a day later. While Durant obviously is still seeking a way out of Brooklyn, Irving is believed to be invested in the Nets this coming season. And this is from Brian Windhorst again. I think Kyrie's invested in being a Brooklyn Net next year. Obviously, there was some turmoil with his contract extension not happening. He realized his best path moving forward to get the contract he wants in Brooklyn or elsewhere is to have a very good season. So from what I can gather, it appears he and the Nets are looking forward to meeting up in training camp. Whether Durant is there and his level of buy-in, that's the big question. But right now, I think the Nets want to run this team back, and they're hoping Kevin Durant agrees, the way they're conducting trade talks, like I previously mentioned. So I think that's the weird part, okay? Now that we got that information out the way, what do I think about this team? That's where I'm like, what do I think of this team? Joe Harris and Seth Curry. This team has a lot of shooting. That's something they got right. They didn't have enough shooting, and with Ben Simmons, you need a lot of shooting. So now you have Durant, Kyrie, if they stay, two of the best shooters in the league. Then you got Joe Harris and Seth Curry, another 2 of the best sharpshooters in the league. You brought Royce O'Neal, a guy who's above average 3-point shooter. Okay, you have Patty Mills, career great, above average shooter. He's gonna have a good year. You have TJ Warren, a scorer. Okay, and I know he's missed time with 2 injuries for over the last 2 years. He's barely played. Cam Thomas looks like him and Patty Mills can take over the 6-man role. Durant Sharp will back up Nick Claxton. Nick Claxton and KD are 2 switchable perimeter guys that they love, and obviously every team wants. So this is where I sit, and I think, hey, I do truly believe that the Nets are going to run this back. And let's agree, there's no reason for them not to. Why wouldn't you? The only reason you wouldn't want to run this back is because you don't want I assume you wouldn't want... I really don't get why they wouldn't want to run this back, and why Durant. Durant, at this point, you need to just come up, show up, and I think it's in your best interest just to have this team. I don't see why you wouldn't want to try to, salvage this relationship. Because at the end of the day, I think it's in his best interest to keep going forward. And this is like a team that I've said in the past, this isn't a bad team. Okay, like I mentioned. Right there, if you keep Durant and Kyrie right here, that's 2. Ben Simmons 3. Then you have Seth Curry and Joe Harris. That's 5. Royce O'Neal, Nick Claxton. That's 7. Patty Mills, TJ Warren, Cam Thomas. That's 10 deep. Durant Sharp. That's 11 deep. Then Kessler Edwards. This team is 12 deep before you hit Edmund Summer, David Duke. Okay? And that's 14. They're 14 guys deep. They need one more player on their roster, which they have a few guys on training camp deals. So for me, I think this team is good, and I really think that's ridiculous what Durant is doing, because this is actually with Durant on the roster. This team's 14 players deep. 14 guys deep. You know how rare that is? Pretty freaking rare.